Welcome to another appetizing episode of Monday Movie Pickup. Ant-Man, Quantumania, so I'm catching up on some of the Marvel Studios movies that I have yet to purchase. This is the 4K edition with the disc art on the 4K disc, and a couple of the standard special features that come with all Marvel releases nowadays. This was a movie that I enjoyed it enough. I haven't revisited it. I didn't go to the theater again to watch it. I haven't watched it on Disney Plus yet. I could see this one improving on a second viewing. That has happened with all the other Ant-Man movies, but I know that this one was it was a bit of a disappointment in most people's eyes just because of what we were expecting out of it. And maybe that's the big thing. Maybe we just shouldn't have had the expectations that we did going into the movie. Maybe now going into the movie knowing exactly what we're getting, maybe it'll be a little different. And then here's another one I had yet to purchase. This is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Here's the inside disc art for the 4K disc and the standard blue disc for the Blu-ray. I've been getting mostly 4Ks now for the Marvel discs. Might as well, just because I do enjoy the movies enough, and I typically go back to them a lot because I will do watch-throughs of the entire series, so might as well have the 4K to get the best quality, even though I'm not really trying to get 4Ks for my entire collection. This was a movie that I haven't gone back to yet either. I thought it went way too long with the premise. I thought it was very unfocused. I wasn't so much into the villain, and I just remember, being very bored with the whole idea of the movie. But again, maybe it'll improve on a second viewing. And here's the very cool thing. The same month, it seemed like, when Disney announced they would no longer be doing Blu-ray releases in Australia, they then announced that they would be releasing some of their Disney Plus shows on 4K disc. Now, they did the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, WandaVision, and Loki, season 1. They actually sold out of this on Amazon already. I bought this at Best Buy. Another thing, Best Buy will soon be no longer selling Blu-ray or 4K discs for the most part. I don't know if they're getting rid of new releases altogether, or if they're just not going to do anything with physical media. It's not a surprise if you've gone to a Best Buy in recent years. They've really cut down the section. I remember around 2013, 2015, between that time, there would be just rows and rows of Blu-ray discs that you could buy, but that has not been the case for quite a while. Since the pandemic, they've completely cut it down to like one row, a few promotional spots for the new releases. But yeah, I kind of saw this coming. It didn't really shock me, but it was cool to go and get Loki in person because I did see that it was no longer in stock on Amazon, and I didn't want to risk the chance of them not doing a second pressing or something. I wasn't sure what Disney's plans were with these releases, but clearly if it sold out, it must be doing pretty well. Loki in particular. I'm not sure if the other ones have sold out, but Loki, for me, has been the best Disney Plus show yet. I think of all of them, even the Star Wars stuff, I think Loki has been the best season of TV that they've done. It's my favorite show from the Marvel Universe, and hey, look at this. It also even came with some artwork. Isn't that cool? Look at all that. Yeah, I've been watching season 2, and I think season 2 so far has been incredible as well. I think it's just as good as the first season, and maybe on a path to being better than the first season. I don't typically buy TV on Blu-ray or physical media. A lot of the shows are available through streaming, and Loki is a streaming show. I mean, you can only watch it on Disney Plus until now, but it is cool to complete the Marvel collection at home with the TV stuff now. It's cool to actually get something official from them, especially since it actually came with some unique special features. The coolest thing is that they're including the assembled documentary that was released on Disney Plus. They haven't done that for the other Marvel releases, from my knowledge. All the Blu-ray releases don't come with the assembled documentary that is put on Disney Plus, which is unfortunate because if you buy the physical media copy, you should be able to get the well-produced documentary that is made for the movie. It should be on the disc, but I guess it was meant to entice people to go to Disney Plus. Who knows? But it's cool that they did include it with Loki. And completing some stuff from my DC collection, here's The Flash. Now this is the 4K edition of it, because as I found out, the special features on the 4K disc are slightly different from the Blu-ray disc. There's actually exclusive features just on the 4K. One thing that I noticed as of recently is that 4K discs are now including special features. For a while, it was just the movie and the commentary. They wouldn't include additional bonus features. They would just include a Blu-ray disc that had either the old Blu-ray features or even the new special features for a newer release. But the 4K discs often didn't have any special features besides the commentary. Now they've been releasing, especially Warner Brothers, the 4K disc that includes special features, and in comparison to the Blu-ray, they even have some exclusive stuff. So it gives me a reason to maybe get the 4K discs in the future. Even though they've been doing some anniversary releases of older movies on 4K without including a Blu-ray, even though the Blu-ray discs that they could include actually have more special features than the 4K discs. Like they're not bare bones, they come with commentaries and such, but I saw that they were doing it for The Exorcist and for Enter the Dragon. They're doing these 50th anniversary 4K sets, but they don't include the Blu-rays, which had way more special features from years ago, like the 40th anniversary editions for both of those movies. The whole thing is kind of confusing because it really depends on which movie Warner Brothers is releasing, if they decide to include a Blu-ray disc or not with the older special features. So you gotta really be careful about that right now. But they're not just including a Blu-ray disc anymore, it's just the 4K disc. It's not a 4K and a Blu-ray anymore, it's just gonna be the 4K digital code. Really got to pay attention to all this stuff. It's becoming tougher to be a movie collector because with all the different editions and all the different the 4Ks, the Blu-rays, and now they're including special features on just the 4K versus the Blu-ray. You got to keep up. You got to do your research before buying any of these. Getting to the movie, I actually enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought Michael Keaton was great in it. I know people had their issues with it. The special effects are a big problem, but that's like one problem in the movie. Something that, honestly, I can overlook for the rest of the movie, which I find to be very enjoyable, a lot of fun. And yeah, there's people who straight up boycotted the movie for understandable reasons. But, you know, I think the movie got the job done. It was everything that I was kind of hoping it would be. And Michael Keaton as Batman, he was so good. It was so good to see him again. And continuing my Paramount Presents collection, this is the 41st release, Hustle and Flow. This version from Paramount Presents comes with both a Blu-ray and a 4K. Some of their movies as of recently, they've been either doing just a Blu-ray or just a 4K. Blue Hawaii and Red Eye and Double Jeopardy, all of those came with 2 discs, a Blu-ray and a 4K. But if you got The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance or The Nutty Professor, it's only a 4K. There's no Blu-ray disc with those. I guess it doesn't matter if you own a 4K player, but again, really got to pay attention when you're buying these as of recently. The Exorcist 3 from Scream Factory. Now, I recently watched the original Exorcist on the big screen. It was the director's cut, but there's also the theatrical cut, which I prefer. There's also the Exorcist collection that was released in 2015, and I have that set. That includes all the movies, including both versions of the prequel. But I hadn't actually seen any of the other movies until recently. Now I watched The Exorcist 2, a very goofy, ridiculous movie, but there's kind of an enjoyable quality to it. There's some ideas in it that I think are interesting, but they never really take off. Then you got Exorcist 3, which I think people often say is the best of the Exorcist sequels, but still isn't nearly comparable to the first movie. This set actually comes with 2 cuts. There's a director's cut that from my understanding was never fully finished. They actually cut a lot of the scenes before they did the premiere, and it was from the suggestion of some of the producers, and the director actually agreed with the cuts. He actually didn't think there was a need for a director's cut, but he also thought the footage was lost. Scream Factory actually worked to find the original footage, which I believe is from a VHS rip, so it's not high quality, but they did their best to make an actual director's cut. But again, it seems like every Exorcist movie has 2 different versions. Like, even the second movie has 2 different cuts. I think there's a shorter cut of the movie that wasn't originally in theaters. That's the one I haven't seen. That's only on the Scream Factory edition. And then there's the prequel, which they don't have different cuts, but they are 2 entirely different movies. And by 2 different directors. And it seems also that none of these movies have been well received besides the first movie. And I've been wanting to catch up with them for the newest movie, Exorcist Believer, but I even hear that that one's not all that great. So, I don't know, it seems like these movies they make multiple cuts, multiple sequels, and then no one's happy with any of them except for the first movie. This is the next one I have to watch. Hopefully I can get through this and the prequels and then go and watch that new movie in theaters before it leaves, since every movie has to leave incredibly fast nowadays. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the animated special from 1966. A great movie. One that I watch every year, probably every year anyway. But what I didn't realize was I actually own this movie through a Dr. Seuss collection. It's called Hats Off to Dr. Seuss. That edition is actually out of print, so it's pretty pricey to find nowadays, but it includes almost every single Dr. Seuss special that was done on TV or released in some other format. But what it doesn't come with are the two other Grinch specials. The Grinch's The Cat in the Hat, which is the greatest title of all time, and Halloween is Grinch Night. For Halloween this year, I wanted to watch Halloween is Grinch Night. I've never seen that, or the Grinch's The Cat in the Hat, but my misunderstanding was either that set had these specials on the Grinch Blu-ray disc, or that they've never been officially released on Blu-ray. It turns out they did release it on the most recent of the Grinch Blu-rays. So this has been, re-released multiple times, and every year they give it some new kind of packaging during Christmas. But what I didn't realize was the Ultimate Edition actually has different stuff on it. But at least now I have all the other specials included on this set, and it wasn't pricey. This wasn't a pricey set to buy at all, because this is the one that's still currently widely available. But it's a frustrating thing, because there's so many different versions of this Blu-ray set, and it seemingly was the same Blu-ray disc for years. It was only until recently that they actually did a different version of the Blu-ray, and yeah, now it has different stuff. Here's Wallace and Gromit, the complete cracking collection. This was actually an early birthday gift. Thank you, Ryan, for buying me this, which is great because I own the movie that was released with DreamWorks, and I own the other Aardman DreamWorks movies, but I don't own the other non-DreamWorks Aardman stuff, because besides the Pirates movie that they did in 2012, they've since then done a Shaun the Sheep movie. They've probably done some other things that I might be forgetting, but here you got Wallace and Gromit. These are the original shorts that pretty much put Aardman on the spot, and yeah, it comes with everything. I think the only thing it doesn't have is a short-lived TV series they did back in, I think, the 2010s. That's not included on here, but that does have its own Blu-ray release, so I might have to buy that at some point to complete the Wallace and Gromit collection. It has everything in it. Super cool. And then we have a few Blu-rays from Kino that they recently did a sale for. Here's Jack the Giant Killer. This is, I think the thing it's most famous for is that there's an original cut of the movie, but then they also did a musical version of the movie after the fact. And I don't think either movie has ever been critically praised, but for years I think it had terrible restorations and was pretty tough to track down. Now the movie is available in both cuts. The Abominable, Dr. Phibes, and Dr. Phibes Rises Again. So this first movie is actually released as part of the Vincent Price collection from Shout Factory, but the second volume of that has been out of print for a few years now and includes some other movies. So I bought quite a few Kino Blu-rays that had the movies from that Shout Factory out of print set. The only one I still had to get, besides The House on Haunted Hill, which apparently is getting a 3D Blu-ray release. There's a Kickstarter for it online, so I might have to look into that to possibly get that movie on Blu-ray. I don't think there's another way to get it at the moment, but there's Dr. Phibes Rises Again, and that was also on the Volume 2 set. So by buying this, I now have almost everything from that out-of-print Volume 2 set. I'm a big fan of Vincent Price, been trying to track down a lot of his movies in recent years. You got John Travolta, Staying Alive. This is one I've been waiting for quite a while. I've owned the 2-disc release of both Saturday Night Fever and Staying Alive for a long time. That was pretty much the best way to get Staying Alive for the longest time. Just that DVD release that they bundled with Saturday Night Fever. But yeah, finally they have the movie on Blu-ray, and this is just one that, again, I think it has a notorious history for being one of those just very bad, so bad it's good type of movies. It's directed by Sylvester Stallone, so I mean, how bad could it be? He's had some hits. He's had a lot of misses, but you know, I don't think you can go wrong with Sylvester Stallone. Here's Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. This is an interesting movie because it is one where Steve Martin is in the movie. They shot new footage, but they also include a lot of other footage from older gangster movies. And I always thought that concept was incredibly interesting, but I've never really heard much about the movie beyond that. So Kino recently did this Blu-ray release for the film, and this is going to be my first time watching it. And of all these Blu-rays, this will probably be the first thing I pop in. And then last but not least, we have Man on the Moon. This is the Jim Carrey movie. People probably know about this movie just from the Jim and Andy documentary that's on Netflix. But I've always wanted to see the movie. I hear that this is one of his best performances, and as someone who in recent years just learned more about who Andy Kaufman is, I'd like to see what they tackled about his life that I may not know about. That was everything for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for the support on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive videos and blogs, and for only $7, you can request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.